Hi guys, only 2 games left this season in Mamemeister's high score Kerfuffle, and for the past 2 weeks we've been playing Gyrus. With it being New Year and having various projects on the go, I wasn't able to play this as much as I would have liked to, which is a shame, as the game is really good. It was released in 1983 by Konami, and I mentioned last week that it was a mix between Gallagher and Tempest. The presentation certainly is great on this one for such an early game. The movement does take a bit of getting used to. As you move from one quarter of the circle to the next, then you need to move the joystick in the next direction to get around the circle. This means that the direction isn't reversed when you get to the top, but it does require you to keep your wits about you as to where you are and where you need to move the joystick. Something quite notable about this game is the music, which sounds great and really adds something. Regarding home versions, Alan has done an arcade perfect my arse on this. It appeared on the Atari 2600, the 5200, the Atari 800 computer, the ColecoVision, the C64 and the NES. As is common with the NES, there are changes from the arcade, making it more than just a port, and a separate version in its own right. Graphically it's pretty nice, and well worth a look. There is also a Spectrum version that didn't get a commercial release for some reason, but to be honest, it doesn't look that great. So with this week done, let's take a look at the scores. I've had 15 scores sent to me, including a return from Charlie Farr, who we've not seen for a couple of games. The first challenge is getting over 100,000 points, which is where I am, down in 12th. There is then a little group of folks from Retro Arcade Challenge in 11th, through to KMA in 8th, with 140,000. Mark and Juff are close, on just shy of 170,000. Then My Retro Check and Colin are in 4th and 5th with just over 180,000. Beyond them are our top 3, all a chunk ahead. Blue Yak gave this a fair few shots over the last couple of weeks, finishing on 263,000. Graham is in 2nd, not far ahead with 269,000. But this is a fixed shooter, and we know someone who is rather good at these. At the top, with no major surprise, is Charlie Farr, with a huge 350,000. Well done to Dave, and this is a great score, although well off the world record of 70 million, set a couple of years back by Kim Cannonarm, who has a cool documentary about setting this record. Here is the distribution of the scores, and we're back to something that isn't a million miles away from a normal distribution. I'm the lone light green box on the left, and I really should have scored more if I had the time, which would have given the distribution a bit more of a peak. We can see 2nd and 3rd being close, and then Charlie Farr at the top, all on his own, but not significantly away from the pack, showing it was a strong but not standout score. And here's the difficulty curve. Overall things are fairly linear. There is a bit of a steep increase at the start, showing getting 100,000 or so is fairly doable. Then it's a little flatter in the middle, showing many people were topping out between 120 and 180,000 points. Before on the right, the gradient's steeping a little again, up to Dave at the top. This isn't a huge surprise, giving a pretty linear scoring system for this one. Finally, we have the progress over the 2 weeks. We can see that there are a few people giving it quite a few stabs, which is great. Colin, Graham, Bob, Milthy and Blue Yag all submitted quite a few scores, and gradually improved. Paul was the first to submit a competitive score, before KMA moved things on. He was overtaken by Colin, who was soon beaten by Graham. Blue Yak then led for a bit, before Charlie Farr dropped his winning score, not to be caught again. Although Graham did get ahead of Blue Yak in that time for 2nd, which could be important for the overall season win. Regarding the table, things are stabilising given we are getting deeper into the season. KMA is up a couple after his best finish this season. Charlie Farr is our big mover after this week's win, jumping up 3 places into 9th. Our only other mover is Blue Yak, who has gotten ahead of Mark with his excellent 3rd place. At the top, it's now close between Bob and Pearl for 3rd, and then Graham has stretched out a little lead ahead of Juff for the season win. He's 42 points ahead now, which is more than the difference between 1st and 2nd places for each game. Let's now see what the next game is, and who is more likely to suit. I mentioned last week that it was slim pickings for the letter H, and there were more games getting multiple votes than normal. I've had 16 games sent to me. Hunchback and Hopping Mappy both got a couple of votes each, and then both Hot Dog Storm and Halley's Comet got 3 votes each. Hot Dog Storm was my choice, so let's see if it comes up. I'll set the selector going. We'll see what I get. Here we go. Slowing down. Oh, is it going to be Graham again, or is it going to stop? Oh, couldn't tell if it was popping over the line there. So actually, we've got Halley's Comet. Turns out this was a choice from Paul, but 2 other people selected it too. I don't know much about this game. Is it like a fixed shooter of some sort? Anyway, I'll go look it up, make a video, and be back in a sec. So this week's game is Halley's Comet, released by Taito in 1986. The game got 3 votes, so a few people should be happy. I mentioned that I thought it was a fixed shooter, but it is a scrolling one, and another vertical game. It reminds me of Star Force, a game which was released 18 months before this. Given this is a 1986 release, I can't help but feel it's a little basic graphically. The game's creator was the same as that of Bubble Bobble, and he mentioned in an interview that the hardware was underpowered for what they were trying to achieve. It had no hardware scrolling, so the scrolling effects had to be done in software. The aim of the game is to protect Earth, and I believe other planets, from incoming Halley's Comet. But beyond that, it is typical shmup fare, and it seems to play alright. Getting the power-ups does seem to be key to doing well, as the basic pea shooter feels a little underpowered. It seems that the game influenced later titles too, with some of the programmers of Dangan Feveron from Cave and Twin Cobra from Turblan suggesting that those games received inspiration from this one. We'll be using the USA ROM with default settings. For the next game, please send me games beginning with the letter I. There aren't the most games to choose from, but there are some good ones from my perspective. Shmups are well represented here, with Ibarra from Cave, Ikaruga, Insector X and more. I'll be going for I'm Sorry, which is a fun little maze game. So I hope you enjoy playing some Halley's Comet. I know Juff is very good at Star Force, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him near the top when I'm back with the scores and the next game. See you then.